Hi friends, it's Sarah. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my sister AJ and I are making videos about journaling, about making art, and other cozy things. 2024 was my first year with a Hobonichi. This is my Hobonichi A6, and I journaled in it every day for the whole year. Before I officially go and retire my 2024 Hobonichi, I wanted to go through and see how I might want to do things differently in my 2025 Hobonichi. There are definitely things that I want to keep in 2025. There are things that I want to do more of, and there's things that I want to introduce. So let's walk through my 2024 Hobonichi together and see how I did, and maybe you'll get some ideas for your journal in 2025. Let's do it. Okay, awesome. Let's talk Hobonichi A6. Here is my Hobonichi Han from 2024. I have a clear cover on it, which allows me to put pictures under the cover. I just wanted to keep it really simple. That was my instinct. My first Hobonichi, let's go with A6. You know, it's a reasonable size. I think I can realistically write in this every day. That was my goal. And I will say I did pretty well. I definitely am keeping the A6 size moving into 2025 with my Hobonichi Techo. The sole purpose of this planner for me is memory keeping. I want to be able to relive all the things that I did in the previous year and the previous month through my journal entries. That's my goal here. The first change is that I'm moving from the Han to the original A6. The main reason why I wanted the Han in the first place was I thought that it would be nice to have something that's hardcover versus the softer cover of the original. And I wanted it to be slim, so I just put a clear cover on it versus a full cover. It worked quite well, honestly. I'm pretty happy with my decision, but I ended up going with the original for this year. I like how slim it is compared to the Han. It's just a slimmer cover. I still have a clear cover on top in case I want to take it out of my Tragen. When this Tragen came out, I knew I wanted it because of the storage. Mostly of the storage. So there's 3 pockets here for cards. No, there's 4 pockets here for cards. There's this pocket which holds the planner but also acts as more storage. And then there's a pocket here and another pocket on the back. There's also a magnetic closure and the zipper here, which holds more stuff. So I love that. I wanted to be able to carry stuff around with me as I bring this around. And I didn't really bring around my Han as much last year, but I'm hoping to be able to go to cafes more this year and journal and just vibe. So that's kind of my plan here. Of course, the Tragen also protects the planner. So that's awesome. And there's a pen holder here, so I can keep my go-to pen at the moment tucked in, which is awesome. So I'm pretty happy with my use so far. I know it's still January, so it's still early, and we'll see how I feel about this next year. But so far, I'm really loving it. Okay, so let's go back into my 2024 and see how I journaled last year, what I'm going to keep doing this year, what I want to do more of in 2025, and then what I'm going to change. Okay, so moving into the yearly view first. I know some people use this for habit tracking, some people use it as a mood tracker, some people use it as this is the last time I did X, this is the last time we did an oil change, this is the last time I bathed the dog, you know, stuff like that. How I did the yearly view was every day I would add a highlight from that day. So it could be anything. It could be work related, it could be social, it could be getting a new pen, it could be anything. I really like this, actually. I love being able to see just at a quick glance kind of my year. And I'm sad to say that I fell off on this in September. I wish I had gone through with it for the rest of the year because it'd be really cool to kind of just have a high level view of what I did, but something happened and I fell off. So next year, I definitely want to give this another shot. I want to make sure that I do it every day. And I like having this little tab here. This is one I got from an artist called Nicole Josephine. She does really cute, kind of cozy, nature-inspired art. So check her out. I love having this tab here just as a little reminder to do this. So I'm going to pull this over into my 2025. So already I've started doing this year. So we're off to a good start so far. The thing that I'm changing for this is I thought it'd be cool to have a little color coding. So I have 3 colors. I have work in green, I have personal stuff in this brown, and then I have social/outings in pink. So you can kind of see at a glance what my highlights are for the day. I think this will be really cool to look at the end of the year. So hopefully at the end of this year, we'll see this fully filled out. Okay, so moving on from the yearly view, we're going to move into our monthlies. I will say that I am happy to look at this because I can see major events, I can see date nights, I can see I did pottery class, I was dog sitting, I can see birthdays, I can see the Toronto Stationery Show, Lunar New Year, all of that stuff. So I love being able to see this. I'm sad that these pages are so bland. I think this is a perfect opportunity to use stickers that I have. So I'm hoping to use those a lot more this year. And just going back and giving these pages some love, you know? I don't fill in that many things, so I should be able to have stickers for most of these days. I really need to stop being stingy. I think that's the big thing. I think a lot of us are similar, but we have a bunch of stickers and for some reason, we don't want to use them. How beautiful, how cute, and I don't use them. So I am hoping that I use stickers a lot more next year. This is a perfect opportunity to use those. If you didn't see my Japan haul, just check out the other video that I posted. Bunch of stickers, a bunch of cute stuff in there. Okay, so moving on from our monthlies to our dailies. So this is one of the first spreads I did, and this is not even on a data page, but you can see how excited I was to be in my first Hobonichi. I was very optimistic on what I could do for my spreads. So I put a bunch of photos in for the final moments of 2023, Christmas in Seattle. I did some traditional art, which I hadn't done in a long time. And you can see I was excited about doing more traditional art. I would give myself probably a B-. Now that I've seen the whole year, I'd probably give myself a B-. But also the beginnings of my fountain pen journey with my Pereira, my Koeko. You can see that this journal has gotten a lot of love. A lot of love. So in terms of things I'm going to keep going into 2025, I definitely want to keep putting photos in. I love seeing photos. It gives me a really quick snapshot into what was up that day. Where did we go? What did we eat? Who was I with? Stuff like that. I definitely want to keep doing those. The other thing I want to keep doing are these little checklists at the top. It gives me a quick peek at what productive things I was doing at the time and what I was able to complete. So I definitely want to keep doing those. In terms of how I journal, I do write a good amount. And that includes mundane things, that includes highlights of the day, that includes sometimes journal prompts if I have nothing specific to write about. So I definitely want to keep using this as a memory keeper and make sure that I write about just my life. I want to be able to look back at this in 10 years and be like, cool, that's what life was like in 2024. The other thing that I did with photos is I would put some extra photos on this first page of the month. So if I had any extra photos, I would plop them in here, and I think I want to continue doing that. Sometimes some photos don't make it into the daily spreads, but we can highlight them on the monthly view. Okay, so something I want to do more of are definitely the doodles. How cute are they? I love being able to put in some of my artistic skills. I love taking some time to just illustrate something. I think it makes such a big difference on the spread. It makes me so happy looking at this. It makes me remember what I was doing at that time of year. I do a lot of drawings of food, and I want to keep doing that because I like remembering what I eat, especially if I went out to eat. I definitely want to remember, and I want to make sure that I put more time into watercoloring. So for example, here's I did a little doodle of my tuna kimchi rice bowl from last year, and I didn't spend any time to do any watercolors in it, but it makes such a big difference. So I did one in my 2025. I had a Dutch baby pancake at brunch yesterday, and I put some watercolors in, and it made me so happy. I got this pocket watercolor palette that fits perfectly into my dragon cover right here, so I can bring it everywhere with me, and I can easily add some watercolor to my drawings. And I think it makes such a big difference, so I'm really excited to use this next year. I did put in a good effort at the beginning of the year to use some stickers that I had, like this. They just add a little spark to the page, you know, even if they're not relevant at all. They just add a little something. I also similarly want to use more washi tape. I have so much washi tape, I should use it just as a little decor. And so I'm aiming to use at least one sticker or a piece of washi tape on every journal spread in my 2025. So hopefully we can try to do that. I also want to use more ephemera. So this is a sticker that I pulled off my TWSBI Eco, the fountain pen that I got. And it just comes a long way. I don't know. It adds something to the page. It's something that I would normally just throw into the trash, but it commemorates adding something new to my stash. And so I did that actually yesterday with the watercolor palette that I had. I filled it with watercolors, and so I put the label for the palette into my journal. I also want to play more with inks and the pens that I have. So right now, I inked my new Pilot Decimo recently with this pink ink that I've been using so far in 2025, but I have so many other inks and pens, so I should be using that quite a bit. I did a decent job. You can see that I switched inks every once in a while. I switched pens. Wow, my writing's actually really neat in May. But changing inks to green, changing inks to black, changing inks back to brown. I definitely want to play with inks and the different pens that I have. I am lucky to have a bunch of different pens, so I should use them. Okay, so in terms of the things that I want to change for my daily pages moving into 2025, I think the biggest thing is the way I do photos. So at the beginning of the year, my first photos, all of these photos, were printed with this Kodak Mini 3 retro printer, which is so cute, first of all, but also it's very portable, which is really nice. The thing that I don't like about it and why I ended up moving away from it is that the paper that it prints on is quite stiff. It's quite stiff and it's quite thick. And in contrast to the Tomo River paper, it's just really heavy and I think contributed to a lot of this thickness of my book. Yes, there's a bunch of other stuff in here, but I moved away because, well, one, you also have to buy special paper for this printer to print on, but also, yeah, because of the thickness that it adds. I eventually moved from using this printer to printing on sticker paper. I used the Online Labels regular sticker paper, and I would put photos into my spreads. I really liked having it like this. However, the actual practical application of it was kind of annoying. I was really annoying about making things fit into the Hobonichi grid like perfectly, which took a lot of time just to make sure the sizing was perfect, took a lot of time to cut out perfectly, and so I eventually moved away from this into this column layout where I would have images that were the exact same width and variable height, and I would just stick them in the time section of the Hobonichi. Going between days, I'm pretty happy with how that looks. So the reason I'm moving away from this is because of my workflow where I waited to have an entire page of sticker papers worth of pictures before I would print them. So a lot of these days would go by without any images for a long time until I filled in the sticker page, which took a long time because these are quite small images and it's regular sized paper. So it took me a long time to actually fill those full pages. I would spend hours going through and making sure that I'm putting the right image on the right page. It just didn't feel as right and it kind of broke the daily journaling habit for me. And so for that reason, I'm going to move off of doing it this way. I do love it. I love how thin the sticker paper is, but I'm able to obviously see all of the memories through like pictures. If you're like me, you usually put all of your images on a hard drive or an iCloud, never to be looked at again. And so this is a nice way for me to pick some highlight images and print them out and just have them in my journal to look at. So the way I'm doing that in 2025 so far, I'm printing on regular paper. So no longer printing on sticker paper. I don't like wasting paper. So what I've done is I've cut regular paper down to the smallest size that my printer can take, which is 3.5 inches by 5. This way I can waste as little paper as possible, but I can print out daily images. The way I journal currently is I will assemble the images that I want to represent the day, and then I would print them out and then I stick them on the page before I write anything, just so I know what images I need to write around. The nice thing about this now is that I can get into my journal flow on a daily basis versus doing the images once every month or so. This is a lot nicer for me. The other thing that I've abandoned is the need to fit everything into the grid, into the Hobonichi grid. So you can tell that it doesn't fit perfectly into the grid and it doesn't look bad. And so for every day, I try to print at least one image that is relevant to the day. And I stick that into my journal with my current favorite adhesive roller, which is this Kokuyo dot liner. I love it because it's very thin, but it still grips very well onto the page. And then I stick it in and I write around it. And then I also try to add an image. I love this little sushi watercolor that I did. And then I try to add stickers and washi. I know it's the beginning of the year, but hopefully I can carry this throughout the year because I really like how it's going for me so far. Some days I'll have multiple images. I'm also breaking the flow a little more. Sometimes I split up the left side and the right side. Sometimes I'll write on as a whole column. It's really whatever I am feeling that day. I'm still trying to draw. I'm trying to doodle. I'm trying to use watercolor. I'm trying to use washi. I'm trying to print out images. I'm trying to use stickers. I'm trying to use ephemera. So far, so good. I've been doing all the things that I'm aiming to do. And it makes me so happy actually looking at this. So those are my daily pages. From there, really all that's left are these pages in the back here. I think the only thing that I did a little bit of was fill up some of my favorites, which aren't technically my favorites, but I wanted to keep a log of some TV shows that I watch, some movies that I watch, books that I read. And so I wrote down the name of the show or the book or the movie. I gave it a rating out of 10. I wrote down the day that I finished the series or the book, and I wrote a little snippet about my feelings on it, which I really love to see. I would love to be more thorough for 2025 and actually write down all the things that I watch and read and consume, because it's really cool to be able to go back and be like, oh yeah, that was a good show. That was a good movie. Okay, so those are my favorites. As you can see, I have not used the My 100 spread at all. So I'm curious what you guys do in here. I didn't have any great ideas for 2024. I'm thinking for 2025 to motivate myself and also to celebrate the work I've done. I'm thinking maybe I can put in videos that I've made, including this one. I think that could be really cool. So yeah, let me know what you do for your top 100. This 365 days check off. What do you guys use this for? I also don't know what to do in here. It's only January, so I'm sure I can jump back in now and do something here if I have a good idea. So let me know what you do with these pages. This reminded me of something that I'm doing for my 2025. I got the suggestion from my community. The idea was to write a note to yourself. And so that's what I did. I had all of these really cute memo notes that I got from a friend, Roro, who is also a part of my community, who sends me these beautiful happy mail all the time, and I appreciate it so much. And it's another thing where I feel really stingy and I don't want to use these really cute things that I have for some reason. It's so silly, but I thought this would be a perfect use for it. And so I wrote some notes to myself, and now I keep them in the back here in this little popcorn bag. It's sealed with some washi tape, and I think the idea is that I will read it at the end of this year. So I'm going to keep it in here for now, but then I'll give it a read at the end of the year and see how far I've come, how I've changed. So those are my takeaways from doing my first full year of Hobonichi. I'm really proud I was able to write for every day of the year because there were some big changes in my life last year. I moved to Seattle, which is the biggest one. I bought a house, which is insane. But I was able to keep track of that all in here, and now I'm really excited to be able to pull this out like in 10 years from now and see all the things that I did in 2024. This is why I'm doing this again in 2025. I want to have a memory keeper. I want to make sure I'm capturing things with photos and I'm using them in my journal. So 2025, this is my setup. This is my Hobonichi A6. I'm really excited for it. I hope that gave you a bit of insight into how I go about journaling, and maybe there are some takeaways for you and how you can journal, whether that's in a Hobonichi or not. I think it's a great sustainable way to memory keep because I think if it got too much for me, I would stop doing it entirely. So the A6 size is perfect for me. I don't feel too overwhelmed looking at the pages as I would an A5, but it's enough for me to brain dump for the day and share a few highlights with my images, with my stickers, with my washi. This is what's on my list this year. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to go back and do some traditional art with my watercolor. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for watching my other videos. I am still so new to this, but I'm having a lot of fun just documenting and hopefully offering some interesting ways to do things. I am still, in the grand scheme of things, a very new journaler, so I don't really know what the heck I'm doing, but that's kind of the beauty of it, right? Is that you can jump into it and do things your own way. So I'm sure nobody does it exactly like I will, but I think there are ways we can share and inspire each other to have more fun with our journaling. Okay, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.